So YouTube, today's video is kind of my finishing touches on what I decided to do to get my fuel pump situated. Now, if you remember a few videos back, I had to change out my fuel pump due to the factory fuel pump being bad. I did a lot of research on what fuel pump I should go with, and a lot of people said, listen, you go with the AC Delco. In fact, I'm not sure if the one I had was original, but it was a Delco, and this is a 24-year-old car. The biggest issue that a lot of people say with the factory fuel pump is it loses voltage. So what I decided to do was install a bypass, which is actually controlled by a toggle that's actually coming directly off the fuels block to send full voltage to the fuel pump. That's the biggest issue. I think you lose like 0.8 amps by using the factory system. And so by installing a bypass, you get fuel power to that fuel pump, which means it can move faster. And again, AC Delco is a very reputable brand. So what I've done here is, you can see kind of my finishing touches. I wanted to leave this as stock as possible. A lot of people kind of criticize this, but I was actually watching a Facebook post the other day of somebody who said that car enthusiasts don't like when you cut anything into a car. Again, this is my car. I'm going to do what I want, but I want to try to preserve the value as best I can. So instead of installing something aftermarket, right, I wanted this hatch, this fuel hatch, to fit flush like it's almost custom. Again, I have some soundboard that has to go over this for my amplifier, or some Dynamat, as well as the wood board that attaches my amp and my capacitor. But I'm very happy with how this finished up. You know, it looks factory if you really weren't paying attention. I did kind of insulate it a little bit, and this is my bypass. Okay, and as you can see, that bypass, I followed the channel of the fuel pump, and kind of, you know, put some a little bit of electrical as well as a little bit of duct tape. But you can see my splices. The blue line is actually 14 gauges. That's going directly to the toggle switch. So once I hit that toggle switch, that's going to send that 12 volts directly to the fuel pump. And your green, those are actually 16 gauge, and that's actually going to the grounding block, fuse block here for my ground. I was actually going to install it directly into the amplifier, but I said to myself, you know, if I have any issues with the amp or the capacitor, especially due to this heat, I said, you know what, let me give it its own separate ground so I don't run into any problems. So, you know, I actually installed that right there next to your spare. So that's my hatch setup. When I go around here, you can see this is the blue wire. I'm actually going to tuck that in the channel. And that's my red wire that's actually going to connect to it. And again, that's 14 gauge also. This is actually where I set up my fuel toggle. So if I take that apart, I spliced into the cigarette ground because this is illuminated to let you know whether or not it's on or off. So I spliced directly into the ground. I use 16 gauge for that. And then my two hots coming in, one is 14, that's going directly, actually, the direction said you could either install it directly to the battery, or you can go directly to the fuse block. I decided to install it directly to the battery. So what I did was I installed a mini fuse 15 amp in line. So not my incoming is already fused. My outcoming is actually to the fuel pump, is 15 amps, and that's actually what's attached. You see here, spliced to that red wire. And I actually tucked it behind here since this is easy to take apart, just in case I have any issues. But that's kind of where I'm at with this right now. I know it's been a minute, but you know, it's just been too hot out here to work. You know, I would say to anybody out there that is working in this heat, you know, make sure you stay hydrated and be extra careful. We all love our cars, but I gotta admit, you know, it's not worth passing out or dying over. So until we meet again, YouTube, if you like my content, please subscribe.